Welcome to another edition of Swim Easy Speed. Today we're going to look at should you bilateral breathe? And this is one of those examples of, where we need to look a little bit deeper into the advice that we're giving. It's a bit dogmatic. It's, usually comes along the lines of you must learn how to bilateral breathe, that if you don't learn how to bilateral breathe, you're missing out on everything. And, one of the things that we're, trying to solve with, there's two main things that we're trying to solve with bilateral breathing. The first is if you're just breathing to one side, it's much easier for the stroke to get kind of imbalanced. And you can see it here where the right goes out and reaches, the left kind of just gets stopped and doesn't rotate through as much on the stroke. Now, what that can cause is some instability in the stroke. So you can see with the feet coming apart, that's just indication of a lot of instability. The second thing that we're trying to, that bilateral breathing apparently solves is when you are in really rough swim conditions like this, you need to learn how to bilateral breathe. And I've been in conditions like this and have only breathed to one side and it's fine. But most of the time, the conditions for an open water swim and triathlon are going to look like this. It's not much different than a pool swim. And there's really no necessity to bilateral breathe. The one thing is that everyone is comfortable breathing to one side or the other. And, when you have kind of this one side imbalance, just as long as you're aware of it and you rotate through the stroke on the opposite, on the breathing side, you can fix a lot of problems. The one thing that happens when you try to do bilateral breathing is while it may appear to balance out the stroke, because one side is more comfortable than the other in terms of the breathing, it tends to create problems elsewhere in the stroke that are more difficult to solve. So here's the bilateral breathing happening, and you can see the stroke looks more balanced. And you'll even see from the back of the stroke that, the feet aren't coming apart anymore. Not like they were with that kind of unbalanced one-sided stroke. So here is just a one-sided balanced stroke. So if you're just thinking about, hey, I'm going to rotate through the stroke, be aware of it. You can balance out the stroke just by breathing to one side. And here's what the feet look like. You can see it looks like the bilateral breathing stroke. Here's what it looks like underwater for bilateral breathing. There's always, though, a problem where one side is going to feel more comfortable. And this is going to impact not only speed, but efficiency as well. And so one of the things that I did was I decided to test out the Swim Better swim sensors and see if there was a difference between the two. While they look very, very similar in terms of balance and efficiency, the strokes on the swim sensors differed in two key ways. So the first was the left wasn't generating as much force as the right. It was almost by about 20% difference. And then the overall power, you looked at about 2.0 and about 2.5 here, so left versus right. When it's just one-sided, very balanced, you go up to 3.5 and about 3.4, and the stroke is much more balanced, also generating a lot more power. So that's what you want to think about. It's not about breathing on both sides. It's about how balanced can you make the stroke? Can you generate equal amounts of power on both sides? It's typically easier to do it when you're a little bit more comfortable and the stroke feels like it's flowing a little bit better. But you can see from just, a quick view, there's not much difference between the two strokes. Bilateral breathing, what shows up is in the power. So as always, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the pool soon.